This is the Woke Wizard signing in with another podcast, talking about how we are the greatest technology. We are the greatest technology. The way that God has created us, we are the greatest technology. However, because we're so accustomed to using other methods of technology that are artificial, we don't access the actual technology of our own being. Well, what is this technology? Well, we only have to look into the science, the irrefutable science of remote viewing. One of the most prominent scientists in this field, parapsychologists in this field, is Russell Targ. And if you haven't seen the TED Talk on remote viewing by Russell Targ, which was ironically banned, which says it all, but it was re-released, I'm pretty sure. You can access this on YouTube on remote viewing. And just a quick look into remote viewing will show you that there is an abundance of research that is being hidden from the human attention, and the power of the third eye, because we think we just have two eyes, but actually our third eye is our gateway to the infinite, and that's why they're putting so many things in the water supply, such the fluoride in the chemtrails, in the food, to damage the third eye and to shut it, close it, and prevent all attempts to access information from the third eye. Although they can't, to a human soul that is willing to overcome this, they will never be able to succeed, because the power of faith in the Most High, whatever you want to call it, once again, the power of faith will always override the power of someone trying to dominate, control you. But it really does take a willpower that identifies with the whole of existence and what do you want to call it, once again, God. So we have to look back at our ancient history, which is being completely omitted from our vision, and we know that the Emerald Tablets of Thoth contain an abundance of wisdom, the cuneiform tablets, the cuneiform texts, the ancient Sumerian wisdom, the ancient wisdom that came out of Greece during the time of the mystery schools. These teachings emphasize the power of the divine, which for most of us now has been left behind because we don't even think it exists, and which is extremely sad. But for those out there who are keeping the flame alive, kudos to you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're incredible human beings, and we will persevere through these times. But yes, we are the greatest technology, and because we've married our need for whatever it is with artificial technology, we think it's a need, but it's actually a want. And our desires have pushed us into this very strange place we find ourselves in, where, because we're so alien to techniques that are so natural, like meditation and just being in solitude in nature and accessing one's own powers in these environments, because we're so alien to this, it's obviously very confusing for the average human being to try and approach these scenarios, because if you've never experienced in your life any of this, even for one moment, then it's extremely difficult to, even when someone tells you they've experienced it, to try and empathize with them. And that's just how in the dark we've been kept as a society. You know, when we hear of people having these experiences, we just see them as insane. As in the dialogue between Hermes and Asclepius in the Lament of Hermes, it says the pious will be deemed insane. Those who are honouring the divine and who are manifesting their true potential, to those who are not doing so, will appear crazy, which is understandable as well. You know, compassion is a very powerful thing. Once you use it, you can see the reasons for everything. So that allows us not to also react on other people's lack of understanding or ignorance. However, the time has never been more pressing now to start becoming aware of these things again and reigniting the spark of truth within us, because we are on the precipice of something extremely huge happening. Something beyond our wildest imagination is coming to us. And in this time, in this period of extreme chaos, I don't want to use the words extreme because it's going to be chaos, you know. This so-called order is a house of cards. It is a house of cards. No matter how much you try and believe in a house of cards, it's a house of cards. So accept that, step one. Go through whatever you're going to have to go through. Spend some time by yourself in solitude and go through your own inner world. Ride out those waves. Start eating clean, healthy food, lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and lots of juices. Fast if necessary. Go for as long as you need, just on juices, or find a way. Find a way. I can't give you the way. The way is within you. The way is within you. Don't try and attach yourself to other people's belief systems in these times. Listen to what people have to say, including me, but go your own way and find the truth. One of the things that you will find is that if you do wake up to your true nature, you'll realize that you have been lied to your whole life, and that who we are and who we think we are substantially different phenomena. One is contained within the feeding of the false self, the ego, the false identification with this self, and the other is a complete freedom from this self. Not the annihilation of it, because of course it exists. It's part of our nature, but when it's given free rein, and when the mind is given the tool, the keys to mastery, the mind will be self-destructive. It needs to be grounded in the infinite, in the Brahman, whatever you want to call it. Once again, there's so many different religions and philosophies that point towards the same realization in a human being, which is union with the ultimate source of life. It has many different names, but when you actually do experience it, you'll realize it's very difficult to even put a name on it, because language is very difficult to try and describe the infinite with language, because language is finite. Of course, it's even this conversation, I'm trying to use information through language to bring about a state of realization in another human being, but that state of realization ultimately will transcend language if it is reached. So start just questioning the reality you're living in, because it's not so real, and turn the fucking TV off. Throw the TV as far away as you can. That thing is a satanic weapon. It's a psychotronic weapon. It was designed. It was designed for one purpose, and that was to distract the masses. And it's been successful up until now. So once again, look around you at all the technology we're being exposed to. It's coming in extremely rapidly, and it's doing its best to try and assuage us into this new world order system. But it's time for us to take our foot off the gas and start exploring the infinite realm within. It's also extremely difficult to do that nowadays in a time where, as spoken in previous videos and podcasts, whatever, that we are being exposed to such high amounts of radiation that our electromagnetic being is being affected by all the electromagnetic pollution we're surrounded by. And this is obviously something that we really have to take into consideration, because the electromagnetic pollution, you may be living in a house right by a tower and you've not even been realizing it. I know for a fact that my family back in the UK are living very close to what seems to be a new 5G device, and it looks very sinister. And everyone's reporting feeling anxiety and lack of proper sleep, depression, all of this. And it is correlated. There are many reasons for it, but one of the main reasons is electromagnetic pollution. The Wi-Fi in your home, the cell towers that we're surrounded by. It's very hard to find a place in this world right now that isn't actually being exposed to such high amounts of radiation. Now, going back to the technology, this transhumanist agenda, the reason why one has to look at it objectively and say, is there a good side to it? You have to understand the minds of the people who are pushing it out. They have no remorse. They have absolutely no empathy on this matter. They are, whatever they're working for in the spirit world, it says in the Bible, it says, for we wrestle not against the flesh, but against principalities, against spiritual wickedness in high places. It's not the physical we need to be concerned with. It's all the things that you can't see that actually govern the things you can. The field, as even Einstein said, who wasn't without his own faults and working for these powers that be, that he was obviously involved, Manhattan Project, etc. But he said, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Nikola Tesla said, if science begins to study the invisible, it will make more success in 10 years than it has in its whole existence. So this is something that is obviously overlooked because we trust our senses to give us information, and our senses are very limited. We only see a very, very, very small fraction of what is available. I think I'm just going to go here. And we only see a very small fraction of what's available to us in this infinite universe through our senses. One of the other reasons why they want to shut the third eye down is because the third eye allows us to go beyond the sensory world. And my most profound experiences, albeit have been with psychedelics, I've found them very useful in opening up my mind to the infinite. And the most profound experience that I've had is with ayahuasca. And this was the most transcendental, beautiful, infinite experience I could ever describe. And the most incredible thing about this experience is my eyes were closed the whole time, and I saw more things. I saw more things than I've ever seen in my life with my eyes closed. I drifted off into an eternal landscape where there was no in-group, out-group. There was no ability to define anything other than just feeling an infinite feeling of love and unity with the consciousness. One of the best ways I can use language to describe it is the infinite field of pure potentiality. Our true self is so infinitely powerful and so just beyond beauty, beyond beautiful, that the kingdom of God is within us and it's ours to access. But we're so identified with what our senses tell us, with these prisons we've built for ourselves, with the fear of what other people think of us. Wow, how many of us do fear so much what the need for approval from others is one of the most destructive things to our ability to perceive the truth, because we're constantly living in other people's shadows, other people's fears, other people's expectations, and people are going to think what they're going to think, but if you're going to access the truth, you have to let go of all of that. You have to. And that's the ultimate task, really, isn't it, for a human being? Can you let go of the opinions of others? And also, one of the other things is people's responsibilities. I understand there are a lot of people out there who have families and who have they have given themselves a lot of responsibilities in life for other people, which is obviously understandable. You have to take care of your family and do the best you can. Whatever situation you're in, you've got to play the hand you're dealt. But you can still explore these things. Once again, fuck what other people think about your exploration of these things. Use the knowledge that you have to empower your family, to empower those around you, and do it with a fear that just see two butterflies dancing together. Beautiful. Do it with a fearless heart. Go through whatever the dark night of the soul. You're going to have to go through some things. You're going to have to face yourself. But better to do it now than when it's too late. You've always got a chance for a repentance in this life. One thing I can't be objectively sure is every human being you meet, are they actually human, or are they? Is there something else commanding their soul? Do they have a soul? Some people you meet, it's very difficult. That's a question that I can't objectively answer. But kindness and compassion and patience and fearlessness, and courage, these are all virtues that will allow you to take on anything in life. Literally anything in life. So find out what it is within you that is, maybe there's a few things, whatever it is that is holding you down, and start taking steps to free yourself from this. As Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. No one but ourselves can free our minds. It's true. Even in the Lost Gospels, in the Apocrypha, in the hidden Christian texts, the living Yeshua, the living Christ, the message of Christ is telling only you can discover the Christ within for yourself. Christ cannot give it to you. And why would you want it given to you on a plate? This is the beauty. It's you have the power to access it. And when you do access it, you'll realise why you should never have, why it's such an incredible thing not to have just been given to you. Because it is a gift, but it's who you are. Who you are is a gift. Just the very fact that you are alive and experiencing this experience is an absolutely beyond their mind's capacity to try and break it down experience or phenomenon. And so in these times, in these profound, weird and wonderful times, one thing is very true, is the truth is stranger than fiction. No novel you read will come close to your own discoveries when you decide to start pursuing the truth of this universe. And you're never going to find the exact truth, and that's okay, because as it says in the Tao Te Ching, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The way that can be named, the way that can be spoken of, is not the eternal. So yeah.